everybody to Outdoor Power Tech. It's been a couple of weeks, I know, but business starting to pick up here in my area. We've been having a lot of warm weather up in the 70s, and I'm already booked out past May. That's just pickups every day. Coming so that's not counting walk-ins, but I've been having on average between 10 to 15 mowers a week through my shop the past 3 weeks. But customer brought this in. I think he said it will start and cut off, or it won't start at all. So we're going to see what goes on here, and probably just going to be a carburetor clean on it. But we have an Ariens or Ariens, depending on what part of the country you're at. I get numerous people come in and they pronounce it all different ways. But I pronounce it Ariens. It's RT7020. And the engine that's on this is a Tecumseh engine. And let's see what Tecumseh engine it is. It's a 7 horsepower. We ain't got nothing on that nameplate. Okay, right here we go. It's a HH70, which of course is a 7 horsepower. So let's see if we can get this thing cranked up. We've got the throttle on. Make sure nothing's in gear. And let's put the choke on. He has the gas cut off. I was wondering if he having gas in it. There's no gas in it. All right, let's get some gas in this and I'll be right back with you. I wonder if it has a leak on, if the carburetor has a leak and that's why the gas tank's empty. I'm hoping that he didn't try to crank it and it was just out of gas. That happens a lot. Alright, so we got gas coming through the gas filter he's got on here. I guess I'll leave that gas filter on there for him, I guess. It looks like. Alright, she's filling up. Still filling up. Yep. All right. It's leaking around the carburetor. So we are going to pull this off, and I'll get y'all in here and let you see. So it's leaking. That's probably why his gas tank was dry. All right. Let me get you back on the tripod, and we'll get this carburetor off, and then we'll put it on the bench and rebuild it. All right. We're going to go ahead and take the air filter off. And at least he oils his pre-filter. That's good. Actually doesn't look dirty at all. It's just dark from the oil. We'll look at the filament underneath it and check it out. Let's see what the filament looks like underneath it. Yeah, looks good. Looks real good. It's brown like this either because of the oil or because it's just gotten old. I've got new old stock Briggs filters from the 50s and 60s. They are brand new, and they're just brown like this because they just turn over time, but it is clean. All right. That should just be a Phillips. Zooms out a little bit. Unplug his breather hose. And I'll probably take that gas line off. I'll go ahead and take it off now. I didn't want to mess with it too much. Let me get some needle nose pliers. So it's turned spring here on us. I think this is the last week that we're gonna have some cold weather. I've already got all my gardens planted. This year I just done straight sowed everything into the ground. None of y'all know, or if I haven't mentioned on the channel, me and my wife, we homestead and we grow 100% of all our vegetables and stuff. We make it, the last 3 years we've made it all year long without having to buy any type of vegetables at all. So all we had was meats and like our paper towels and stuff like that. And my wife, she makes all our breads from scratch. She makes all our loaf bread from scratch. She makes all our bagels, our English muffins, our pizza doughs, our biscuits. Everything's made from scratch. She does it once a month, makes it all, freezes it, and then we just take it out of the freezer and put it in the oven and cook it. But we've got all that stuff going on right now. I'm gonna take a picture of this, or I'll just do it with the camera. Zoom in on here so I can see where that linkage is set up at. So the spring's in that first notch, and then the bigger one is where the linkage is at. This has to be an older model. I'll get the exact year date on it later on, but this is back when Tecumseh was still making a halfway decent engine that ran really good. They were really competing with Briggs back then. So if it was a newer one, I wouldn't have accepted it into my shop. Here's a carburetor. So I'm just gonna spray it off and meet y'all on the bench and we'll get it taken apart. All right, that gasket still looks really good. Guess I'm going to pull this off. And this is just your standard carburetor that went on most of these old Tecumseh engines. You can still buy them aftermarket ones. The ones with the choke lever on them, the aftermarket ones, I've never had any issues with those, ever. Y'all see me? The Tecumseh aftermarkets that has the red bubble you push on, I have had issues with them. I never had gotten one that worked. But these that has the choke on, this isn't aftermarket, but these that has the choke lever on like this, the aftermarket, they have always ran. The matter of fact, the tiller behind this other one, you might have seen it when I first started the video. That's my personal tiller. That was my grandpa's. And I put an aftermarket carburetor on it probably 15 years ago, and it still cranks and runs beautiful. The main thing with these old Tecumseh engines with these bowls with the adjustment screw and stuff on the bottom like this, when you're not using it, turn your gas off and let it run until it starts cutting off. And when it starts cutting off, pull your choke out and it'll keep on running a little bit more. And you push the choke in. When it tries to die, you just keep doing that till it drains all the gas out of your carburetor. And then when you go back the next time to crank it up, you just turn your gas on, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and she'll fire up every time. I've been doing that on my personal tiller for years now, and I have yet to rebuild a carburetor. And I mean, I do it even when I'm not going to use it for a week. I'll do it. All right. Probably a 7/16. Probably gonna be some gas still left in here, just a little bit. Hopefully she isn't bad. Doesn't look bad so far. It's got some black sediment in it. Let's see if I can find a flashlight. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's all real good and clean. Let's shake this. Make sure there's no gas in it, because sometimes they'll get a pinhole in them and start leaking gas, these brass ones. But she's good. She's good and really clean. So what I'm going to do is clean this junk out of the carburetor bowl. It's in good enough shape. I'm not going to have to put it in the parts washer as far as my ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to be able to just clean it out like this. I'm going to check that gas tank. I think that gas tank has a filter inside the tank. It should. And but if the guy wants that extra fuel filter on there, we'll just leave it for him. Some people like that. That gasket looks really good still. Looks real good. See, it's not brittle or anything. So we go on to, there's a little hole. There's a little hole right in the center towards the bottom. You see it down in there? It's in the very center on the bottom. I want to squirt some carb cleaner through that hole. That's why I pulled the breather assembly off of it. Get that clean. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll pull this off too. I'll have to reset all this stuff. Now I'm going to be replacing the seat on this, the rubber seat. That's why I'm spraying this carb cleaner in here right now. If I wasn't replacing that seat, I'd be very careful not to get it down in there where it's at, because it will make it swell up, and it might make this swell up too. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off of there real quick. That's still real good. Well, another thing I like doing too, if I get a gasket in and it's still in good shape like this, while I'm working on the carburetor, I'll squirt me some WD-40 on it and let it just sit in that WD-40 till I'm done. And let it soak that WD-40 up just so it'll prolong the life of the gasket. Okay, now I'm gonna clean that up on my wire wheel just a little bit. It has just a little bit of rust on it. You're probably not gonna be able to see it. It's not enough to worry about, but I want this to be right. All right. Now there is a brass washer down in here and a rubber O-ring behind it. It didn't come off with this. So I'm just gonna leave it in there and put this back in. I'm just gonna eyeball this to where it was at. And then I'll adjust it out later. Okay, now we're gonna check this. Now I'll just go ahead and pull this off. I'm gonna clean this needle up. Just get all any of that debris off of there. It's little pieces of rust, which could go up in the jet. And then I'll clean this with my wire wheel too. And then we'll clean out the holes on this. Okay. Get the spring back on that. Get that cleaned up. All right, let me show you where these little small jets are. Okay. You got two holes on here. You got one right here that you have to clean out. And of course it's clean. And then right above it, right there in that crease, is another one. It's really, really small. Can you see it right there? If I turn it this way, it's real little. So I'm going to use a real small. I keep torch tip cleaners in stock here, or not stock, but keep it in my toolbox here. It comes with all different sizes, and I can clean those out. See, look, you see where that hole's at right there? All right, we're gonna get that cleaned out real good. And I'm pleased with that. And the bigger one down here look really, really good. Okay. I'm gonna clean that off. Let that sit and dry. Okay. Now let's pull that seat out. I got this tool that I bought a long time ago. It's for Tecumseh. Part number 670377. And what you do is you can push it down in here. Sorry for the lighting, guys. And there, you just pull it out. But you put this on here like this, and always make sure the side that has the grooves on it goes down. And so we're going to just put it in here. I'll push it in until it bottoms out. There we go. and she's in. Okay. All right, let me put this up. Okay, now we're gonna put and the way this needle sits on here, it's the way I've always done it. You see how it has a little hanger? I just hang it on there like. It's gonna be hard to show y'all on here. I just hang it on there like that. See? Okay. And then I'll carefully put it down in here. And put our pin in. Make sure that's level. Bowl gasket here that we had sitting in the WD-40. Get that put on. Okay. Now this, see how that's beveled like this? This goes on the side that has your pin on it. So it's gonna go like this, and you're gonna want to kind of like line it up perfect on it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, cause I have a lot of these in stock. I'm gonna go ahead and just put a new seal on. But if yours was good, like that one was, then you don't have to do this. And I got a new bowl that I'm gonna put on there, just so the guy will be set up good. Okay, so let's got the new gasket on there, and I'm gonna put this new bowl on there for him. All right, now put our nut gasket on. Screw in our bowl nut. Yeah, I like it. That's fitting a little tighter with that new gasket on there. All right, now we'll screw this in. Probably screw it into there. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking okay, right? Get that one started. And we'll get the other one started. And we'll test this thing without the breather box on. Get a 7/16 and put on there too. Might be a 3/8. I think it is 3/8. All right, let's hook his gas back up. Turn it on. I'll go ahead and replace. I don't know why people put these E3 plugs in stuff. We'll see if the rebuild's held. And if it holds and runs good, I'll let this thing sit overnight with the gas on, with a bucket under it, and make sure it doesn't leak. No leaks so far. Still taking gas in. All right, guys, we're good. Well, nope, she is leaking. She's leaking. So I'm gonna have to take it back off again. All right, guys, I did have to take the carburetor off again, and I cleaned out where that rubber seat goes up into the carburetor. I had to clean it. I don't want this thing wide open. We'll do like half throttle, I guess. Maybe getting too much gas in there. Pull this up a little bit. Make sure this thing's in neutral. It is. We'll give a little bit more throttle. Whatever that is off of there. Okay, well, we found something out. The engine's slap full of gas that's where his gas went to. So let me get that cleaned up, and we'll empty all the gas, all the oil out of it, and we'll put new oil in it, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, I'm back. I rebuilt this carburetor 3 times. I've done every trick that I know how to do. The seat, I even used lapping compound on a Q-tip to get it real smooth, and that usually works every single time. It still has pitting in that seat, and I just can't get around that. So I went ahead and ordered a new carburetor on Amazon. It is a Chinese, but like I was saying before, these Tecumseh ones with the choke on it, they have always worked really, really well. Now, if you get the one that doesn't have the choke lever and has the push button, don't ever buy any of those on Amazon. They don't work. Even the original OEM ones barely worked, but these are well built. Like I said, I have the one on my personal tiller. It's been on there for years, and I have never had a problem with it ever. So let's go ahead and get this off. The part number on this is, and this is for the 7 horsepower Tecumseh. Part number on this one was a 631440. and you can look it up on there. The serial number on this, maybe you can look it up with this also, is X001KGW6CJ. But I'll also, in the video, or in the description, I'll put a link to this carb all also for y'all. So let's get our Phillips screwdriver and pull the carb off. And I am going to have to drain the oil out because it will slap full of gas. I haven't done that yet because I got real busy here at the shop. I've had a few people bring me stuff that should have been brought during the winter time. Blown head gaskets, sump pan seals leaking. So that's kind of putting me behind on my normal services. Y'all see what I'm doing here? All right. As you can see, there's oil drooping out of the breather hose right there. But we'll take care of all that. No problem at all. Let's get this unhooked. And this carburetor will have the same butterfly. Will have the same exact holes on the butterfly. I might have to adjust the carb a little bit, maybe. 99% of the time, I don't ever have to, though. Okay, let's see here. Got that all hooked up all right. And it did come with a new gasket. The one that's on here looks really, really good still. So I'll just throw that new gasket in my, where I keep all my gaskets at. Let's see what this throttle's looking like. All right, oh, that's still looking good. And now on my mowers and stuff, I always use OEM. I have used Chinese ones on some of the intake engines, and surprisingly they've worked every single time. But sometimes you just have to get OEM. But in this case, I've had really, really good. Tecumseh got where they were making crappy stuff anyways. So these Chinese ones are already a notch above what Tecumseh was making before they went out of business. Okay, I'm gonna get this oil drained out of here because it was slap full. And we'll get it cranked up and tune it and we'll be good to go. So I'll be back with y'all here shortly. Good and idling good. I had to adjust the throttle cable. It wasn't adjusted outright. But she's idling beautiful. Sounds real good. right, there you have it, guys. She's running good. Pleased with how it turned out. Customer's gonna be happy. He can get his garden tilled up. I was really hoping we was gonna be able to use the old carburetor, because y'all know how I am. I like the old stuff. Wish I could have went back with the original. But like I said, these aftermarket Tecumseh carbs with the actual throttle, actual choke on it, like this, they always run great. I've never had any issues with them. As you can see, it runs good, idles good. Well, I appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, we'll see you.